and welcome to episode 86. And a few episodes ago we looked at the weird EQ problems we got when we had a Shure SM57 that had got a speck of dirt in the middle of the diaphragm that was touching the end cap, and how thin and tinny it made the sound. So I thought today I'd show you the results of my latest experiments. That microphone we cured by removing the little speck. I also discovered how easy they are to break, and while fiddling about I managed to break a perfectly decent SM57, and I thought, okay, what am I going to do with that? Throw it away? No, I'll see if I can fix it with a Chinese replacement capsule that I found that claimed to be a sort of direct replacement and was the principal sum of £8. So yep, £8 for a new capsule. Well, I thought, well, it's probably going to be horrible, but I'll order one. See, I actually ordered two. Good job, really. Anyway, so I ordered two of these things and they've turned up. So I have put one of these Chinese capsules inside a real, genuine Shure SM57. And we'll have a look at that in a bit. Now, I also got a bit intrigued when I was looking for that capsule because I actually found another advert for a Chinese seller doing SM57s complete for £12. So an SM57 for £12. So I bought one of them as well, just to have a look. So I've got a little collection now. I've got a genuine Shure 57. I've got a sort of hybrid, half genuine, half fake 57. I've also got an MB75, which is the Chinese SM57 that Thomann sell in Germany. And they sell quite a lot of them, and they're pretty good. They're cheaper than a real 57, but they're not silly cheap. And they're pretty hard to tell between. So, real 57, hybrid 57, a Thomann 57, and just arrived, the very, very cheapest 57 that I could find. When I unboxed them, my sort of expectations were pretty low, because what have we got? Just a legendary Stagger microphone. I mean, basically somebody in China has not realised that the E was an E, and they've put an R in. So the actual box is a huge giveaway that something is not right. Nicely though, it doesn't attempt to look like a Shure box. They haven't, so there are lots of dodgy counterfeit Shures about. This really isn't trying very hard to pretend to be a Shure. In actual fact, it doesn't actually say Shure anywhere on the box, which means I suppose this one is lookalike, not really a counterfeit. Don't know. There should be one of those zip-up bags inside. There isn't. There should be a stand mount, and there isn't. I did ask the seller if there should have been. They totally ignored me. You do get 1/4 inch to a XLR. Another slight worry. Why would you want a 1/4 inch that? I mean, because it's an unbalanced 1/4 inch jack. So what are you going to plug it into? Old-fashioned reel-to-reel, maybe. That would work. But anyway, the microphone itself. Well, it's probably the cleanest and tidiest SM57 that I got. But what did it say? Well, it just says on it, SM57 dynamic microphone, low impedance, cardioid. So it doesn't say Shure. It's they're not pretending. And the other thing is, that is fixed on a proper 57. That end cap rotates. There's a groove inside with a little spring, and they rotate. On this one, it doesn't. If I unscrew the two, well, judging by the two wires, what we've actually got is a low impedance capsule, because that wire inside there goes straight down to the XLR on the end. So there's no transformer. When I was buying the capsules, I did notice that quite a few of the capsules had the transformer included in the end section. Now obviously the one I bought to replace the genuine Shure, I didn't want that because the actual tube here has the transformer inside it. So the £8 thing that I bought didn't need the transformer. This one clearly must have the transformer in this unit here. Don't suppose it matters where it is. It's quite light, but it does mean that I've got a £12 microphone. I've got the Thomann. I've had to label them all up because it's quite hard to tell the difference. The Thomann, well, it's a lot heavier. Pretty much the same though. Looking at the Thomann, I would pretty much guess that the end cap on both of these is exactly the same. This one is the 50/50, and this one is the real one. Now, the one clear thing about all these microphones as I'm holding it here is that at least this one does say Shure on the grill. So on the little spinny ring there is a thing that says Shure, because I could easily mistake this for either of these two. I'm never going to mistake it for the £12 one because it feels, it weighs, it looks different. But the others are going to be quite easy to make the mistake. There is a difference in the end colours, but that's pretty much it really. So what am I left with? I've got 4 microphones that are all designed around the SM57. So I suppose what we should do is have a listen to them. I think what I might do is put the 4 mics together in a square, tape them up and point them at the same things and record all 4 at the same time so we can switch between them. There was nearly a 5th one because I thought what I would do with that hybrid was see if I could actually manage to get the Shure end cap and the little spring onto the Chinese version, which comes with its own end cap. And to cut a long story short, I broke it. So I bought 2 microphone elements, and to get this hybrid Shure Chinese one, I actually wasted the £8 capsule. And I took a little bit of video so you can have a look on how exactly I did it and what went wrong. I don't think it was actually a fault of any kind. It's just that the actual measurements of the capsule are slightly different, and I think when the Shure end cap goes on, it does what that little tiny microturd did the other day and stops the middle of the diaphragm moving properly because it's touching the plastic cap, and it got that characteristic thin sound. So I'm guessing that's what happened. So you can't swap the real Shure end cap onto a fake capsule, even though they look the same. It didn't work. Anyway, let's do some testing. I've gain matched all of these, and the gain on the recorder within 1 digit is exactly the same. The cheapest one, in actual fact, is the highest output, and the genuine Shure is the lowest output, which is a little bit unusual, but you know, it's only a very, very small amount. It's a very close thing. Most are set to number 7. The Shure SM57 genuine one is actually nearer 8, and the cheap and cheerful £12 thing is just under 7. So they're all very, very close. It's a very ugly way of doing things, isn't it? So it doesn't look very nice at all. If I cut to this camera, that gives you a better idea of how far away I am from the microphone. So we need to do some comparisons now, don't we? So, all right, you're listening to me on the SM7B that we normally use as our comparison microphone. So let's cut across one by one to these microphones. So we're on the SM7B. We're now going to go to the genuine Shure SM57 now. So now you've got my voice, same distance as we've got with our comparison mic. The SM57, this one, the genuine Shure, and actually it is quite an old one. I think it goes back to about 1976, so it's a pretty old one. So let's try swapping now from the genuine Shure SM57 to that Thomann version, the MB75. So we're on the MB75 now. You're listening to me at exactly the same distance. I mean, all 4 microphones have got their capsules as close together as I can possibly get them. They're all pointing at my mouth, and they're all in as much of the same sort of physical space as I can get. So the axis is the same, the distance is the same, and at best we're probably 60 millimeters, maybe sort of an inch and a bit apart. As close as you can get when you tape 4 SM57 style mics together. So now let's switch to the hybrid one. So we're on the hybrid now. Now this is the SM57 genuine body with the genuine Shure transformer potted in the bottom of the handle, and it's got the Chinese capsule on the top of it. So it's a sort of half and half. We've got a Shure transformer, but we've actually got a Chinese capsule. So that's this one. I think what we'll now do is we will go across to the cheapie, the 12 quid one. We're right on the £12 mic now. So it's pretending to be an SM57. It clearly isn't. The transformer is built into the capsule assembly. The end cap does not rotate on this microphone at all. So it's a sort of, it looks like a Shure, but it doesn't feel like one, and it certainly isn't built the same way. Whereas the other 3 we've got here pretty much are, and they're designed to look like, hopefully sound like, and certainly feel like a real Shure. The cheap one though, for 12 quid, I mean, is it a sort of microphone to call bingo on, or could you actually do some serious recording with it? I don't know, perhaps we should try it on a guitar maybe. We'll have a go with that. Okay, so let's try a little bit on the guitar, starting off with the Shure. let's just try going a little bit through, and I'll flick through the mics at random. Just follow the captions. Well, 4 mics, 12 quid through to the full price for 57, which is just under £100 now, I guess, in the moment in the UK. So, I don't know. They've all got slightly different tones. I guess you have to just look at what you're going to do with it and decide what to go for. Personally, value for money wise, well, I think that Thomann is probably a good sort of mid thing. It seems to be quite nicely made. It feels, when it's in your hand, like a 57. It certainly seems to perform quite like one. But maybe just spend a little bit extra and just go and buy a real 57. The snag I have discovered is, of course, that you cannot guarantee that the pictures that they have got in the adverts when you buy these things are going to be what turns up. It does seem to be that they've got a microphone that looks like a 57. They use photographs, and I'm not convinced that the cheap one that I bought, the photographs in the advert, are actually of this version of a 57. I'm pretty certain that they're generic, and someone's just taken a photograph of a microphone that looks vaguely like the one they're going to send you. Certainly, I mean, they bung it in a box. I really sort of expected to get that little zip-up mic case. They're usually a bit plasticky, but, you know, they're a decent enough case. And certainly get a mic clip. None of the three that I bought, none of them have got mic clips inside the box. So, too cheap maybe. But it is a gamble. And of course, the other thing is, if you bought one and you really liked it, and you ordered another one, is there any guarantee that the next one you buy is going to actually be the same? Hence why I bought 3. I just thought I'll see what they're like and see if they're just worth even having. But it's a bit of a dodgy process. You might like the bit that follows. This is my attempt to actually persuade the replacement Shure capsule from China that it might like to fit inside the genuine Shure body and have the genuine Shure cap put on the end. And it didn't really go according to plan. But I guess for 8 quid, should I really have expected anything different? I never mind showing all my disasters. It's quite fun to actually do the sort of things that most people do and then keep quiet about. And I actually go and stick them on YouTube. So there we go. I hope this was of sort of some use, and it might, if nothing else, warn you of the dangers of trying to buy Chinese SM57s in the vain hope that they're going to perform as well as a real one. Because quite frankly, they don't. None of them. The 57 is sort of the yardstick everything else is judged by. And while some like the Thomann get close, I don't think they're close enough to do without the genuine one. So as I lost 2 decent SM57s and they got swapped for Duff ones, the hybrid conversion, no, I'm not going to use it. So I can see myself just ordering 2 new replacements, and I'm just going to buy SM57s, and I shall look around and see who's got the best price and buy it from a proper dealer. Not from eBay, not from Amazon, a proper dealer. Look after yourselves. See you on the next video. Take care.